Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, as always, Gavin.
And I, Justin.
And we are remote again. We're kind of on a train of remote podcasts, but I just got back last night from doing about 1,700 miles in my Fiesta, driving down to Southern California and back. And while I was there, I put another 300 miles on a 718 Boxster GTS 4.0.
Ooh, spicy.
It was good.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure it was. And other things happened this week up on my end, and we also just quickly touch on it. A few things like people drive your cars. Like, values are insane. But that all aside, we got a few other things to talk about. Let's get into it.
So some things happened recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What are those?
What are
they
the
might involve
things?
a different location.
Oh, well, I mean, dude, a lot of things on both your end and on my end happened. I don't know if you want to drop the mic on air.
Sure.
This is your thing. I'm going to give you the podium because I've been doing a lot of talking on recent episodes. Yeah. So I'll give you your 90 seconds.
Oh, thanks. So generous. Thank you, King.
I am King Dingus after all.
King Dingus, indeed. No, this week while Gavin was off gallivanting in a certain other location, I had a plan that came together, and I'll just kind of drop the ball. That plan culminated in me getting engaged to my significant other, Bryce. So
yeah,
that was some huge news, which is
congrats, buddy.
Which is fun. Fortunately, we're not crazy people, so the actual event will be at late this year, like December. So it'll be quite a ways off because I don't understand people that are like, oh, cool, we're engaged 3 months. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, those people also probably have money or have parents with money.
Yes, exactly. So they just pay an arranger to just do everything.
Wedding planners. Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a thing. So that was really exciting. That was Tuesday. So that was cool. It was actually delayed. It was actually supposed to happen a week earlier, but the ring in question was delayed. So that was fun. But that happened, and it was definitely in a cheesy, very me way because I'm a PC guy, so we'd been building this water-cooled PC for a while and he was going to be using it, and it eventually culminated in, because of the delay, my plan got kind of curtailed, and so I couldn't do what my original plan was, so I ended up having to rethink and decided, you know what? It'd be funny to pre-install Windows and just make the desktop background just say, will you marry me? And he won't expect anything at all. It'll be a complete mic drop level surprise.
Yeah.
And it was. He didn't expect it whatsoever, and it was great. So
cute.
Yeah, so cute. But yeah, no, really exciting. And there's my 90-second bit, bitch.
Oh, okay. I wasn't actually. God damn it.
No, I know.
Now I got to look like the asshole here because I'm going to go. I have a lot. I guess I don't know if I have more to talk about. I mean, that's a fucking pretty significant, life event. So big congrats to you and Bryce. And yeah, no, well done for you guys. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, it was really exciting, and it was really cool, and I'm excited, to say the least.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And you had your own little adventures.
I did have my own little adventures. On a similar note, I took my significant other on a vacation.
Yeah.
Her birthday is actually today as we're recording this, so happy birthday, Maddie. Sorry, my throat's kind of all fucked up. But anyways, yikes. I guess don't drink Monster in the morning.
God, it kills you more than coffee.
Yeah, I should have made coffee. Monster was a mistake.
Oh,
God. No, so I took my girlfriend on a road trip down to LA from Salt Lake. So the day before, this is great planning, by the way. This is in the middle of January. I decide to change my BlizzX on the Fiesta out from my Extreme Contact Sports.
Yeah.
And hightailed it down to LA, which was super great because there was a blizzard that was like an hour north of Cedar City in the middle of fucking nowhere. And like traffic came down to like a standstill and all that stuff, and visibility sucked. And there were even some moments where like you have to, follow the groove in the road. And doing that with, summer tires on a car with an open differential and front wheel drive and boost is, not the desired.
It's entertaining.
Oh, it's entertaining. Especially when you're driving at 50 miles an hour and someone dropped like a little toy house in the road.
What the fuck? What did they drop?
It was like a toy house.
Literally a toy house.
Yeah, like a literal toy house, and like there was a tarp, I think, as well. And it was in like the best way I can translate this is actually with motorcycle riding. So when you're riding a motorcycle, the lane is actually split into 3 little parts.
Yeah.
So like the left side of the lane is your zone 1, then 2, then 3.
Mm-hmm.
The house was like on zone 3 of the left lane and touching the line.
Okay, so the far right.
So the far right, and I'm following someone at about 50 miles an hour, and they dart to the right, and I'm thinking like there's either roadkill or something in the road, and so I chuck it to the right to avoid and follow them and try to avoid something.
Yeah.
And after they clear it is when I see the toy house, and I was like, oh fuck, and tried to correct that. So that was eventful. That was great. And yeah, gassed up in Cedar City, and then hightailed it from there to Vegas. We stayed. So this happened. This started a week ago today. So Sunday we left for Vegas. We get to Vegas Sunday night.
Yeah.
Or Sunday afternoon, and okay. I've stayed in a cheap Vegas hotel before, but I wasn't like making those arrangements. I wasn't involved with that part at all, beforehand on a separate trip.
Yeah.
And on this trip, I absolutely understand now. You get exactly what you pay for in Las Vegas for hotels.
Yes, you do.
This was a $50 a night.
Ooh. Oh, no.
You get exactly what you pay for.
Oh, no.
Let me tell you where. It was the Thunderbird boutique hotel, and the photos looked nice. I'm pulling up where it is in Vegas exactly. So it's actually not that far off from like the Strip. It's technically on Las Vegas Boulevard. But
oh boy.
But
errors were made. I can already tell you that.
Yeah, so there was like a solid, probably 3/4 of an inch gap, like under the door, between the door and the door jamb.
Oh yeah,
is one of those. Hardwood vinyl floor. The room and like the building would buzz. Like it would be like you have a vibrating bed, but instead of the bed, it's the whole fucking building.
Yeah.
So that was great. I really looked like a great boyfriend when we got there.
I mean, I can tell you what the hardwood floors are for. It's to make it easy to clean up whatever fluids are spilled.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly the point.
Oh my god.
There was a pool. There was a designated smoking area right next to it, so that was classy.
Oh yeah.
Weed was definitely in the air.
I love the across the street the strippers sign. Or at least on.
Dude, we were next door to the Little White Chapel.
I know. Oh my god.
I didn't even like think about that until we got there. I'm like, that's the Little White. Oh.
Tunnel of love. Oh my god. Yeah. You picked one of the best worst areas to stay in Vegas. It's depending on what you're looking for.
It really is depending on what you're looking for. We go next door to the CVS just to get like, because I didn't really want to pack like a bunch of like shampoo and conditioner and body wash and stuff. I just thought like, oh, we'll just get travel stuff on the way.
Yeah.
And so we go to the CVS, and there was crackhead like behavior everywhere.
Oh yeah.
From either crackheads or like crazy Trump people inside, saying fuck Joe Biden, like in the store, like to the cashier.
What the hell? Okay.
People trying to be your best friend. It was interesting. Got out of there. Met up with my buddy Jarek. Have you actually met Jarek?
Haven't actually met him. Just have had
Okay.
the couple interactions that we've had together with him.
Gotcha. Yeah. Jarek is my connect that got me involved with Drive Tribe a couple years ago. He's still pursuing automotive journalism. He has his two cars. He has a Grabber Blue V6 Mustang that he's actually done like suspension stuff and like driver mods, and like he's taken it on track.
Nice. Okay.
He likes it a lot.
Yeah.
He's had it for a while. And then he also I think it was last year, he got, and you're gonna have to look this up, Justin.
Okay.
A Nissan BE1. It's not technically a K car, but it looks like it would be a K car.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
His is like a pastel, all borderline mustard yellow.
You know what's funny? I searched that, and that is 90% of the image results is that pastel mustard yellow.
Yeah. So it was funny because Jarek picked us up at our motel, and we drove. Oh, I need to know what the name of the actual restaurant was, but they have a Chinatown, and so we drove to like the Chinatown Asian market area, and we ate sushi at this one restaurant. It was the coolest fucking thing because, like, technically you did have a waiter, but they would have like the conveyor belt next to you and a touchscreen, and you could just like summon food.
Oh,
and like
okay.
it would just like fly up to you, and they had like this little plate / cover system where like you have to remove the plate a certain way, and like the lid pops up and you take your sushi. And there was also like a robotic waiter that would come up as well.
Yeah.
I posted a picture on my Instagram of Jarek. I think he was like taking a water or something. What was he doing? Oh no, he was like, hey, I think he was petting it. But anyways.
Interesting.
Yeah, super fucking cool car. It's just a little 1 liter. It is a 2+2, like a 2+2 in the sense that like an original Mini is a 2+2.
Gotcha. I also found out the S-Cargo is the same car.
Same platform?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jarek drove us around. We did a couple laps of the strip. Maddie got to ride up front because she has never been in a right-hand drive car before.
Yeah.
So she was riding on the left side for the first time and not driving, which is pretty fun.
Funny.
I didn't drive it. I can't give any review notes, but it was just it's a little 1 liter with an automatic transmission, and it's just a fun little commuter. And like everybody was like pulling out phones, pointing, saying like, "Hey, that's a cool car," all that stuff, which is really a cool experience to have like on the Las Vegas Strip, because you see a lot of shit out there. There's all the supercar rental bros and like the crazy limousines, or just oddball characters in general. And I guess Jarek now classifies as an oddball character with his BE1. So
that's quite the standoutish car.
Yeah, I would say so. You don't see a lot of those.
No.
And he wants to do some suspension upgrades. There was some other. So there's a BE1 Owners Club, of course, and there's like a proprietary shock and coil system or setup that's like the go-to that like someone in the club engineered a way to like make this one coil over happen.
Nice.
And so he's going to be saving up for that, and I think probably brakes. I don't know if he's doing an engine swap or anything, but so yeah, he's got that going on. We get up the next morning, and we honestly, throughout the whole trip, we made pretty good time everywhere we went.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, check out Vegas, and I insisted that we take the same route that you and I took the last time we went to LA.
Yes.
Going around past Lancaster. And that was definitely the way to go, because the ETA ended up being the same with the amount of time that we saved on the way going around.
Yep.
Than as it would have been just taking I-15 to the 210 all the way in. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we found that the last time because that was an awesome little shortcut. That was also a little, a little more beautiful. It was kind
It's
of
like
cool.
kind of a long cut in a weird way because like it depends where you're going in LA, right? So
Yeah.
if you're going to actual Los Angeles or Glendale or Pasadena, that's the wrong way to go. But if you're going to like Malibu or Thousand Oaks or Calabasas or something like that, then that's something that's more west, then it definitely makes sense. So for those that don't know, what we got off at Baker, I always get Baker and Barstow mixed up. I think it was Barstow.
Yeah, Barstow's. Barstow would be the one.
Yeah, so we get off at Barstow, take the 58, I guess. Yeah, the 58 westbound, past Boron, past North Edwards, and that takes you into Mojave, which is out by where Willow Springs Raceway is and the Hyundai Proving Grounds and all that stuff. It is in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
But then you hook a left, and that takes you to the 14, which takes you down into Lancaster and Palmdale. And then the 14 meets up with the 5 in Santa Clarita. And the whole drive on, like, the 14 coming in is just super pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And so our timing, this whole trip was really interesting because the week beforehand, and actually in the weeks before Maddie and I getting there, the whole LA area and the whole West Coast has just been drenched in rain. Just super, super rainy. And I was wondering about pulling our Turo because we did rent a car, which was a Boxster GTS 4.0. And I was like, well, it would really suck if the one time I get to drive, not the one time, but, the time I get to drive a fun car with my girlfriend on both of our birthday week.
Yeah.
Down in Southern California, it rains and the car's a drop top. Like, that would be a fucking bummer. And a rear-wheel drive high-performance car as well.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a little bit of drizzle coming up the hill before getting into Santa Clarita. But other than that, it was pretty much sunshine, like, the whole time.
Okay.
So, like, even on our first full day, like, there were, like, blue skies, like, really blue skies down by the beach and stuff. So that was just really, really, really nice. But, yeah, we get into L.A. We got in early. We got in at, like, 3 o'clock or something, and I was expecting to get in by 6.
Okay, yeah, so a big, decent jump ahead in time.
Yeah, so we check into our hotel, and Andrew was already there. Our good buddy Andrew picked up a Cayman GT4 on Turo as well.
Yeah.
Also a 718, so the generations of the car would be the same, which is really cool to go back and forth. And, yeah, sorry, I'm doing a lot of and does, and my brain is dead because I just drove like 11 hours.
Yeah.
After driving all week and driving down there. So sorry if my brain's a little tired today. But we pick up the Turo, which was at a rental place called Drive LA, which is a full-on rental car company. Like they had a McLaren 620R in there.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and like a 720 Roadster and a 570 and like some Lambos and stuff. And they also had a green, like a Viper green 992 Carrera, which was interesting. But yeah, so we get there, we pick up the car. They left the GT4. They left the GT4 at the hotel. And how did we get there? Wait a minute. We must have, yeah, we all packed into the Fiesta.
Ah, gotcha.
And then got us over there. And then Andrew and Sam drove the Fiesta, and Maddie and I were in the Porsche. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, we did that. So that was first day in California. Second day was kind of more of a take it easy sort of day. We did a little bit of canyon driving and some PCH stuff, but also hit up the Getty Museum.
Okay.
Which was really super cool. That's a place where you really could just spend the entire day. Like, we spent like a couple hours just in like this European between 1500 and 1500s to 1800s like paintings and stuff, which was really cool to see. But then we also saw some like chests and like some wardrobes that were like built in like 500 BC, or sorry, 500 AD. And like there were like little like jewelry things that we saw from like, the BC and like the Christ era, which is really, really cool.
Hell
Got
yeah.
to take a bunch of film photos. So that was also really cool. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, we did a lot of the typical, what car people do when they go to Southern California. We hit up Canyon Roads. We ripped the 2 Porsches through Latigo on Wednesday.
Nice.
Which was, I think the cars were still too much for that road, truly.
Yeah.
But that was an experience, and I filmed both those cars on that road, so videos are going to be coming out in April as well, or April, or by the time the other videos come out, like late April, early May, I think. We'll see how things go, but yeah, drove those. Returned them back. Andrew and Sam pieced out of there, and it was just Maddie and I for the last couple days. And we had this super duper cute Airbnb that was in the La Cañada Flint Ridge area, which was literally at the mouth of Angeles Crest Highway.
Nice. Okay.
It was like for us to get from the Airbnb up to Angeles Crest. We pull out of the driveway. You turn right because it's a one-way, so you go to the next flip around spot, you flip around, and it's like 3 blocks and you're in it.
Nice. Okay.
So went up there Friday morning. Friday actually went up to Angeles Crest twice. Went up in the morning and saw the Good Vibes car. It's not a Cars and Coffee because it's not like at a coffee shop, and I don't want to call it a car show, so I guess it's like a car meetup, I guess.
Yeah.
But that was up at Newcomb's Ranch, and it's hosted by this guy, Jay, and his wife, Nicole Ryan, who they have a podcast called The Late Night Playset, where they record a video podcast that is literally in the old Letterman set. Like the old David Letterman set.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, so they host a podcast, and they're car people and comedy people, and they'll get, comedy guests on there and like that kind of stuff. But they're also car people. So like they had Jay has a yellow 997 Carrera that is kind of decked out, like has this big 111 decal, like a circle logo, like on the side of the door.
Yeah.
Instead of Carrera on the back, it says California. I think there's like he had like a short shifter in there, and I don't know what exactly he has done to it, but that was parked like right up in front. But it was an interesting mix because like it was Porsche heavy, but there was also like a yellow Lancia Delta Integrale.
Yeah,
which was really rad. What else was there? There was like an old Camaro, like a '68 Camaro that was up there. But then there was like the new GT4 RS. Reggie Watts. I don't know. Do you know who he is?
I've heard the name.
Musician and artist. More prominent in like the mid 2000s. You know the song "Fuck Shit Stack."
No, but I pulled him up. I've seen his face. Like I know roughly who he is.
So he was there.
Gotcha.
And he actually followed me down the hill for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, oh, I got Reggie Watts and his 992 turbo behind me. Holy shit.
That's it. Oh my God. That's a California thing if I've ever heard it.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I passed him and I let him by. Oh, sorry. I didn't pass him. I pulled over and he passed me.
Gotcha.
My brain is fried still. It's fine. What else? There were some like older Japanese, like old Cressida wagons and stuff up there. Uh-huh. There was a Porsche Cayenne that was like pulled up, like an off-roaded, like an overlandy Cayenne. Like there's a hillside, like right. I mean, Newcomb's is like inside it, or like on the side of the hill. It's like inset a little bit. So like this Cayenne was like next to Newcomb's Ranch. Sorry, for those that don't know what Newcomb's Ranch is, it is a now not abandoned but a defunct restaurant that's up there. I wish I had actually gone up while it was still a thing, because like I showed you the video with Magnus Walker and Sung Kang.
Yep.
With the old Porsche and the old 240Z.
Yeah.
So there were some shots in that film that were like of Magnus and Sung Kang like at Newcomb's.
Yeah, them eating and talking.
So it's been a place I've been going for a long time. I don't know why the owners gave up on it, but the area is for sale for, I'm sure, an ungodly amount of money. But so yeah, yeah, a somewhat assorted amount of cars, and like there was also like old, like crazy, like big tail, like 935 looking cars, and what else? Oh yeah, and a plucky little gray Fiesta with gold rally wheels.
So I did just look it up because I was curious how much it's for sale for. Oh boy.
Is it what, 5 million, 10 million?
Actually, in the middle of those two, it's 8.5.
Okay.
I mean, I get that it's an iconic spot, but I also have to wonder if that's why it's still closed, because that's a lot of money for something that I guarantee doesn't bring that much money in.
If I won the Powerball, I would in a heartbeat buy that up and
for sure.
get Newcomb's going back up again.
No,
what was crazy though, so while that car meet was going on, like Maddie and I were like walking around, and we like poked our heads in there, and they hadn't cleaned the place out. Like there's still like art on the wall and like chairs and shit in there.
Yeah, so the listing I just pulled up says that like they basically closed for COVID. That's what it was. Is they closed March 2020 and then just decided due to the age of the owner to not reopen.
Okay.
And so like basically the owner still owns it, and there's actually a 3-bedroom cabin on site that it doesn't say that like the most recent like actual owner actually passed away in 2019, so it's his family that technically owns it at this point. So they probably just haven't bothered to clean it out because they're waiting to, I guess, probably get a sale or something. I don't know. It's interesting, but
probably it was just weird to see.
Yeah.
Person. Like I would have, I didn't do any of that reading, so I thought it would have just been like emptied out, and it very much wasn't.
Yeah,
which was interesting. We saw some snow up there, and in typical California fashion, a rock truck had already passed through there and laid down a bunch of gravel for at least the upper half of the road. Which was a bummer.
Yes, that's a big bummer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have, instead of like doing a wash myself, I need you just to clean the outside of my car.
Okay.
Because there's just so much to do, and I want it done right so I can see how many more like rock chips my car has.
Yes. Fortunately, every time I've cleaned your car, your paint has actually been decent with rock chips. It hasn't done too bad, which for a little Fiesta is good.
That's because I hadn't gone up to Newcomb's Ranch yet.
True. True. You hadn't done that yet.
Yeah. But yeah, did that. Drove back down to the crib, hung out for a bit, and then my buddy Jax, who I think you already know as well, Jack Cypher. He was on our last MULA thing where we went up to 33.
Yes.
He lives in what was it? I'm spacing on it now, but it's kind of by the San Bernardino area. Loma Linda. So he lives out in Loma Linda, which is like at least an hour drive. And we like finalized, like during the day, we like finalized details for a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He and his girlfriend hop on his motorcycle and ride an hour and a half out from Loma Linda to where we were to do a late afternoon, early evening photo shoot up in the Angeles Forest.
Okay.
Which was also really neat. And so
yeah.
Got to do that. Which was great because the GT3 guy that initially wanted me to come out and shoot his car fucking bailed.
Of course.
And I didn't ask for a deposit like a dumbass.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
You hate to have to do that, but like it sucks that you almost end up having to.
I should have definitely when we were planning things while I was still in Utah, done a deposit. I mentioned that before, and the conversation was steered a different way, and that's definitely a lesson I've learned. That especially just not even traveling from Salt Lake to Provo, but traveling like Salt Lake to either Boise or Denver or Seattle or California, like wherever. Like basically, I think what I just need to do is to get a 100% deposit. Just pay me ahead of time. We don't have to worry about it. I'll come out and shoot the car.
Yeah, because then at that point,
instead of doing like a 50-50 thing and like waiting on edits or like any of that stuff, like nah, just cut the bullshit. Pay me in advance. I have a catalog. You can see what my work looks like. It's not like I'm a new guy coming on the scene and you don't know what my work looks like. I've been doing this almost 10 years now. So
yeah, you have some references effectively.
I've done this before.
Yes. That's just shitty because like it.
Yeah, a dude with like a GT3 and a 993 Carrera, who also has buddies with GT3s. None of them wanted to pay for a shoot.
Ironic.
Yeah,
interesting.
Like, you have money. You have people with money. And it even came up in conversation that like, oh yeah, well we have a bunch of photographers that can I could easily ask to like shoot. It's like, okay, well, first of all, I have GT3s that are here locally to me that I can also shoot, so I don't really give a shit about you.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, well, if that's the case, then why are you having me do it if you have other people to do it?
Well, so Ray told him about me.
Ah, okay.
Ray, for those that don't know, Ray is this guy, this gentleman with he had, and when he had his kid, sold his 991 GT3 that you and I have both driven. And it was a great car, and Ray's a great dude. I miss him, and I kind of wish that and I think he also wishes he had a GT3 so we could go do more Porsche GT3 things.
Yes.
But yeah, like Ray, like, raved about my work, and that's how this guy became like acquainted with me. But like, homie, like and he said, as an act of good faith, and I think he's kind of holding himself high and mighty here, but he told me as an act of good faith, the next time he comes out here or the next time I come out, we'll do a shoot. It's like, I don't want to fucking do a shoot with you. Like if you and I go out to MULA,
yeah,
like I'll tell him I'm coming, but like when that happens, he's got to pay me and I'll probably charge him extra.
Yeah, I've got a friend of a coworker that and this is local too, so this isn't even traveling. So this is even more funny. Where they set up for, we got connected. We set up to meet to check out what we could do because it was a polished scenario, and I usually don't. I usually want to see it first before I say whether or not I can do it because there's sometimes certain things can't be polished out. So we set up a time. I show up. And complete ghost. Knock on the door, call, text, nothing. Then the following week when I'm talking with my friend, he's like, oh, how'd the detail go? I'm like, oh, it didn't fucking happen. What? Yeah, he literally went Casper the Ghost and was gone.
Did you tell me about this? This sounds familiar.
It was about a couple of years ago. It was polished an orange truck. And what's also funny is that this dude that I was supposed to polish the truck for, I also know his brother pretty well. So I have tons of connections with him. Anyways, he tried to claim to both his brother and my friend that oh no, we didn't agree to meet or anything. That's bullshit. And then I sent screenshots of all the text messages to both his brother and friend. It was like, no. Yeah, that ain't happening. And he got real pissed and like that I called him out. And then he tried to come back a year later and instead of approaching me directly, because he's kind of a bitch, he tried to get his brother to ask me to go detail his car. And I said, cool, pay me 100% up front. I'll come do it. I ain't even touching it until I have money in hand. I'm not even putting the key in my truck. Yeah. And also, I'm not doing it unless you ask me. I ain't doing this this stupid, oh yeah, can you ask Justin for me bullshit? No, come to me directly, be a man, own up to the bullshit you pulled, because I found out he went dirt biking and that's why he bailed on me.
Nice.
Yeah, people are just dumb.
What I think I'll probably do with this Porsche guy is I'll tell him I'm coming out there. If he wants to do a shoot, it will be with at least his GT3 and his 993, and I'm going to also need deposits from his friends.
So out of curiosity, did he give you a reason as to why he bailed?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
So, okay, now I gotta go through these fucking messages. Oh, he still hasn't seen my message. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Friday morning, our shoot was set for like Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, I got hold on. He said, "Hey man, I hate to bail, but I don't think I can make it today. I have a 4-week-old at home, and it's been a rough week. The car is dirty, and it's a trek to get to ACH from here, even though we definitely already discussed that ahead of time, and it was not." He says, "As a gesture of goodwill, I would still like to give you a deposit for a photo shoot in the future, either in SLC or next time you're here when I can plan better. Apologies again to do this." I gave him my phone number before.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was also like a big back and forth about like he bailed on wanting to shoot his 993. And then he said, "We have a bunch of photographers out here too. Ray is a buddy of mine and has been raving about your pics, so that's why I initially reached out." This is back in December.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm going off of earlier messages, you asking me when I would be out there. I already love coming out and spending time in that area, so you reaching out to me for a shoot felt like an awesome proposal, albeit a work trip. I'm still very much down to do a shoot with you in your GT3. I wanted communication to be 120% clear because it takes planning, logistics, time off of work, and money spent for me to get myself out there to do it. To be clear, I'm still totally down for our shoot with one car. It will make our moving parts much easier and simpler, and we can definitely knock the shoot out quickly. I appreciate Ray speaking up for me and putting my name out there, and would also love to grow my network in the greater Southern California area."
Yeah.
And then I took a screenshot of an earlier messages of like him asking, "Are you back in SoCal anytime soon?" back in October.
Yeah.
And then like in that screen cap, I had already replied I wanted to go out this October, but I couldn't make it work, unfortunately. Ideally, like to go for a birthday trip in January. He said, "Ah, cool, let me know. Would love to shoot my cars," and took a photo of his white 993 Carrera and his Gelbrun green 991.2 GT3.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think we can all be there to say that we've forgotten shit, right? And we can all also understand that, like, if you're really fucking busy, it's easy even for something like that to slip through the cracks. But that being said, like, it, listening to that, it doesn't sound like he was that sold on it anyways, and it was more just like, oh, that's interesting, maybe we'll do something, rather than like, hell yeah, I really want to do it. And that's probably the crux of the issue, is that
he also was like, asking me like, "Hey, like, what's the plan?" Like he was touching base with me like that whole period, like the whole time beforehand.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where I think he's just like, more of a wealthy individual, and it was something that he thought would be cool, and he maybe has seen my stuff and has liked my work, and he has a friend that has done work with me and has, had great reviews from that friend, and he was like, "Okay, cool, let's do something."
Yeah.
But I'm the one having to do all the work to get to him.
Yep.
So I have a lot more on the line than he does. For him, it's just like, oh, well, I guess I'm not doing a shoot with that photographer this weekend.
For him, it's a quick half of a Saturday or whatever. In reality, whereas to you, it's...
Yeah, for me, I spent the whole fucking week doing this, and then spent like a lot of my fucking paycheck. And like, sure, I didn't have to rent the Porsche that I rented. I could have saved money there. I didn't have to get like an Airbnb, and I didn't have to come down for the whole week. I could have just like slated a Friday, come down, fuck it, do a 12-hour drive on Wednesday, relax Thursday, shoot Friday, leave Saturday.
Yeah.
That could have happened too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring down the mood or the vibe of the podcast today, but that is just something that happened.
I think it is something to at least address, and I think we've done a good job of that, because it's just...
This is my therapy.
Yeah, and I don't think that people understand that shit is really annoying, even though that's not your income yet, and maybe one day it will be. Like,
I mean, I'm doing content full time for a company anyway. I'm still grabbing cameras every day.
yeah, it's realistically still really annoying because it's, plans that were made, and yes, plans fall through, but that doesn't mean that they have to fall through in this manner when it was pretty well established. So
Yeah. Don't be a shithead.
yeah, exactly.
And just to round out this thought here about the trip, I did make the 12-hour drive yesterday.
Okay.
With Maddie.
Yeah.
And Google was so kind as to put us in a 26-minute delay traffic jam.
Sweet.
It told me that there was a better route, and I wanted to take it, and it put us on the wrong one.
Boy.
So it was just on I-15 going up over San Bernardino.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see what the crash was. I saw like a bunch of scattered debris and stuff, but by the time we got to it, it was already cleared up. So that was super fun. But we still did the drive. Like, I set my bezel on my watch. And was able to time it, and we still did it in like 10 and a half hours.
That's the thing.
And like I wasn't speeding. Like,
yeah,
there were a couple sections where I gotta be honest, I was kind of fucking scared because I'm on extreme contact sports, which like really shouldn't be driven below 45 degrees. And the lowest that my car was indicating was 3.
Oh my God.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I didn't want to trash my Blizzacs going down there.
Yeah.
Not trashing them on the highway, but like I didn't want to put extra wear and tear on that. I didn't want to trash them going up Angela's Crest. I didn't know what other, like, truly how warm it would be, like, in the Southern California area. But yeah, last night I was like pretty anxious because it was all in that section. That was like the temperature was bouncing between like 3 degrees and like 15.
Yeah.
It was like constantly bouncing back and forth. So I actually don't even really know what the temperature was. And it could have been accurate. It could have just been going through a bunch of different, like, colder spots or warmer spots.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I saw a lot of like 3 to 8 degree weather while driving at 70 miles an hour.
Well, and
in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Although you think of St. George and Cedar City as fairly warm places, the reality is some of those passes in between there get really sketchy and have really deep cold pockets that will actually fuck them up pretty good. Because I've been in a situation similar to like both what you described as going down and coming back, where I'm in a truck and it's like, okay, cool. I left Cedar City and it was like 50 degrees, and now I'm down to 20, and all of a sudden it's blizzard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's also like, a lot of those pockets in there where the thing would happen, like it's in the middle of literally nowhere. Like if I popped a tire because the sidewall got too hard and hit an imperfection or something in the road and like unseated the bead, if that happened like in Provo, that would suck. But I can much more easily get a AAA to come out there. I'll get help much quicker there than I would by it's Sulphur something.
Sulphurdale.
Sulphurdale. Yeah. Much quicker there than Sulphurdale. So we rolled in right around at 11 o'clock last night, and I was beyond relief. Not beyond belief, but beyond relief. I was fucking stoked.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. No, the trip went really well with a couple of hiccups regarding my hotel booking ineptitude.
Regarding the literally staying on Hooker's Row.
Yeah, that and the one in Calabasas was fine. There was something that Maddie found that I'm not going to discuss on air for her self-preservation, but I'll tell you off mic.
Okay, gotcha.
That, yeah,
it's questionable.
I'll tell you about it. But those two experiences also made the Airbnb, like walking in there, just so much better. Oh, and we had a dog.
Yeah, you did send me a picture of the dog.
Yeah, we had a white poodle named Jude, who was just the best fucking boy ever.
Yeah.
We got to see him like on the day we got there, and also like the morning when we left, and super adorable and friendly. And just wanted to see like what was going on and like what we were up to, and he was great. The hosts, Doug and I forget the wife's name, were awesome. We stayed in what was called a casita, what they called a casita. It was basically a guest house, probably maybe 30% smaller than my apartment.
Okay.
So it was like maybe a 550 square foot little casita that had like a living room, and like there was like a divide that you would walk around to get to the bedroom. But like really great ambient lighting, stainless steel appliances that worked well. The fridge was empty, but we got to go to a Trader Joe's and stock up, which was nice. We got to cook breakfast and dinner and stuff, and that was great. The nice little time to have to ourselves. I really want to go back there in October when it's like warmer, because they had a pool and like a hot tub and like a back patio. And they're gonna do a bunch of like renovating and stuff to the back over the next 6 months. So October will be perfect for us to go back. But that was my California adventure.
Nice. Yeah, not bad.
Oh, and also one more thing, I got to say I love you. and she said she loves me too. So just one more step for the both of us.
No, that's fantastic. And I'm glad that you had that fun little trip, because this is like the first trip you two have done together. So that's, that's great. This is, one of the times that you'll go to California out of the season when we usually go, which is October. And it's great that you were able to get the 2 cars that you were as well. And no, I'm excited to see those videos when they're all ready and done, because excited to see your thoughts on them.
Oh my God. Oh, I pulled a Gavin moment. So Andrew and I wake up early whenever it was, Wednesday.
Yep.
Wednesday. And so we left the girls at the hotel, and Sam actually took my car with Maddie.
Yeah.
And they got like breakfast and stuff, and they ended up getting snacks to bring to us on the hill.
Yeah.
We're in Latigo Canyon. I have the camera set up, and I look for the microphones.
Oh, yep.
At least they were at the hotel and not in Utah.
That would have been a funny repeat.
Oh my God. So I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do now. And Andrew's like, it's early enough. Let's go back. Because we weren't that far. We were like a 15-minute drive. 20-minute drive. It's like, let's just go back. Let's get the mics and let's just do it proper. I'm like, okay. Which is nice, because I got to drive Latigo Canyon basically twice.
Yep.
Twice in each direction. So that was cool.
Hell yeah.
And that GT4 was really something, though. I mean, the GTS 4-liter was great in a very different way.
Yeah.
I want to drive the GT4 on more of a fitting road, though. Because holy shit. Yes. Give me that.
Hey, that could be your next goal.
Oh God.
As a car.
We'll see about that. We'll see where GT4 values are at in 10 years. I'm just trying to get a normal ass Cayman in 5, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're up. I mean, it's just pretty astonishing how much, not like so many of these vehicles have gone up in value. Not just vehicles, but like many different collector items. I'm noticing a trend in a couple different things, because we've talked about, some of the reason vehicles are going up in value is the more natural manual experience, not just the transmission, but the rest of the vehicle in its entirety that it delivers.
Engaging, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that same trend is following through with a couple different industries like video gaming and other things, where some of that shit's started to skyrocket in value. Like, actually, prime weird example, I found out this week that like the original like Nintendo Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance cartridges for like the Pokemon Gold, Blue, and whatnot, and Sapphire, are in the $500+ range.
Holy shit, dude! What?
Yep.
No.
I'm serious.
Wow.
Now, Nintendo's always had this weird thing where they don't ever go on sale. They sell at full price for the entire time they're available, and then they're just not. And so they have this weird collectability that does happen, and always kind of has. Even GameCubes are above $100 now.
I thought you were gonna say like a cartridge itself would be like $100, which would still be nuts.
The blank cartridge, maybe, but that would be no box, no case, like nothing. That would just be like a random ass cartridge. Might be like 100 to 200. But like,
wow,
when you get it with the actual case and box and whatnot, yeah, like 300 to 500 depending on condition.
that's insane.
Everything's kind of skyrocketed, and a lot of this is, in a way, kind of tied into the same reason why the cars have skyrocketed. I think that the crux of the idea is the same, because back then, just like a car back then was more manually controllable. Back then, you had a smaller thing that you had to put a cartridge in. You didn't download it. Like, there was a lot of physical interaction just to get it to function, similar to the cars. And I think that like the core of the issue as to why these things are becoming so popular is actually probably very similar, because it's the combination of nostalgia and with how much stuff these days is tied to doing interactions on a screen, not the joy of physically interacting with something.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it's so fucking convenient to download games on a console by just clicking a button. There's no denying that it technically, in every way, is a better way. You don't have a disc to scratch. You can't lose it, etc. However, you lose one of the many things that even I find enjoyable, which is, as silly as it sounds, and as inconvenient as it is, sticking a disc in a cartridge. There's actually since us humans are physical, there's actually like a dopamine or endorphin portion that actually enables. It's not just nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, it's just weird because I was thinking about values of cars and then I'm like, wait a minute, it's not just that. It's...
Oh, no, I mean, it's cameras, it's records, it's iPods.
Yeah.
When you were bringing up the Game Boy thing, iPod is actually what I thought of first thing, because I also know that like that kind of stuff is going up, and audiophile gear in general is going up, and a lot of gear from like, the early mid 2000s. And so I thought, what are U2 iPods going for? Because I have one. I bought it in period, and put it through its paces, and used it basically until smartphones were really more of a thing.
Yeah.
And I got Spotify. But I found one. It's a good thing you're sitting down, because I found one it's in brand new condition.
Mm-hmm.
The box appears to be still in the plastic shrink wrap. So this has not been used. $2,200 for a fourth gen 20 gig.
Oh yeah. And I've seen some wild things.
So that's still black and white screen at that point.
Yeah. I think here's my main problem when it comes to most of this stuff, not just with the iPods or the games or the cars. I have one core problem. I actually don't mind as much that they've gone up in value. That is what it is. What I do care about is the extreme cases like the one you just mentioned, because I'm a preservationist, and we've even had talks before that like I have an opinion that there's a lot of cars that are terrible that maybe should be kept just so we have an idea of what's terrible. And you think
we should have a Noah's Ark situation where we have basically one of everything that's clean and mint and preserved. And I don't think that's necessarily great.
And we have a difference of opinion on that, but what I do know we will agree on is that you can keep something in mint condition and still use it for its functionality. So like, for instance, those games I mentioned a minute ago, those like $500+ Sapphire Pokemon games are the ones that are unopened, non-touched, etc. They're not necessarily the ones that are in perfect condition. They're the ones that are still in the wrap. And that's a travesty. Similar to when we talked about that Viper last week. Like, that Viper has actually had a little bit of use, but like not enough for its years on Earth to be justified. And like, I think people get really confused where they go very bipolar one or the other. It's either you use it or you don't, and so you end up with these iPods that are still in the package that are now worth a quote unquote worth an absurd amount of money.
4 figures, yeah.
For no reason other than it's never been used. Okay, great. Like what's the point then? It can be a museum piece and be functional. It can do both.
Like, take something like, and I think I have an idea of where you have become inspired with your belief in that we should have one of everything.
Yes.
The Lane Museum.
A lot of it, yes.
But the thing is, those cars are drivable, and those cars get driven.
That's my thing. I ever since being there, the 3 times I've been there, every time I've enjoyed the museum experience. But I love the idea that he has, which is that if it's going to be here, it's going to be functioning. It is not just a display piece. Yeah, it gets driven 2 or 3 times a year. It's not a lot, but it gets serviced anytime, the whole rigmarole that it needs to be serviced. It's fully functioning. Everything works. I like that what he calls the idea of a living museum, because and it's the same thing with this shit. Like, okay, there are a couple video game museums throughout the country, going back to that. But what I don't agree with is how many of those, for quote unquote preservation purposes, buy up like NOS, iPods, or, in this case, video games that aren't opened, and overinflate the values of these things for no reason, simply because it's unopened. It's amazing. You can have the box, like the shrink wrap off and all the stuff that was in the original box. So it's a complete set, but still have it opened and functioning. Like I just hate the idea of like, oh, it's still in box, so if you unbox it, all of a sudden it's worth $1,000 less. Cool. Well, maybe it shouldn't have been worth that much in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's also what my belief with sneakers.
Yep.
People slinging Jordans that are unworn from like the mid 90s or early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so as soon as I put my foot in this thing, it's going to go down 30 to 50% probably. And also the materials, because they haven't been worn in 30 years, are going to start to degrade as soon as they get worn. Yeah,
I think not as much as cars, but I think any item does have time degradation that does happen, that it actually would have been...
Materials in general break down over time.
And what's ironic is that even with materials like that, if it was probably stepped in occasionally, it actually might not have broken down as much, because it's when things sit in the same spot and are subject to the same heat or humidity or whatever and never changed from that environment that they'll have certain types of degradation. Whereas if it was pulled out of the box occasionally, put on once or twice a year, or whatever the fuck, it doesn't really matter. Its environment changed. So therefore, what would be degrading it has also changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually found that iPod that you mentioned, the $2,500 one, and I'm looking at it like, okay, that's ridiculous. The box isn't even in that great a condition, even though it is together. And like, oh my God. I mean, will it work if you open it up? Possibly. I think you might have to change the battery, but it probably would work. But like, I don't know. Again, I guess I think I see it as like kind of a lost the plot scenario. What's the point?
Yeah.
And same with the cars. When I saw that Viper, I was like, okay, that's cool. Yes, it's insanely low miles, et cetera, but what's the point? I would actually be happier if it had like 20,000 on it. It doesn't need to have, it doesn't need to have like full daily driver car mileage, but I would be happier if it did like at least 500 to 1,000 miles a year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons why our good friend Michael, with his black NSX, I mean, the paint is actually not indicative of 37,000 miles,
sadly,
but it's a 37,000 mile accurate NSX that, yes, it's had a 6-speed swap, but 37,000 miles, or probably 38 by the time we got done with it.
Mm-hmm.
That car's a 92, so we filmed that car in 2022, so 37,000 miles over 30 years. I mean, it's low. It's not preservation quality. It's not Concours quality. It's definitely a car that has had miles and, it has been driven and it's been kept happy. And now that it's owned by Michael, this year it would have been probably about 2 years now that he's had it.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's going to keep it for, but I hope he puts many, many miles on it. I hope he puts many, many miles on all of his fucking cars, because he has some really cool things.
And I think he has a desire to, from talking to him.
He has a desire to. He doesn't necessarily have the time, because part of, having the wealth to acquire these things is, a job that takes most of your time. And he has kids and a wife and dog, I think, and, a home and, all these moving parts. And he is the kind of person that actually enjoys knowing people like you and me.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, can I like take this out and like put some miles on? He's like, yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Yeah. Take it out. Get, blow the cobwebs out.
Because he also knows that we'll take care of the cars too.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if anything happens with any of the cars, like we're upfront about it. Like the day that we hopped in that Golf 911, it was the shift lever had like started to unscrew from its mounting point.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened because it was the second day that we've driven it. So I don't know if there's anything that I did or anything that anyone else would have done or whatever. But we were in the garage and I was like trying to put it in first, and like because there's a dog leg in the lever.
Yeah.
Like I tried pushing it forward and it spun around. Like that's not what we want. And so we hunted for an Allen that was the size of the two Allen keys or Allen nuts that were, or screws, at the base of it, and they felt loose, so we tightened them up, and I put it in first again, and it was like, oh, yep, that was it. So, yeah, that's just one of the many perks that we at Exhibition of Speed offer to our owners of cars that we drive.
We'll make sure your shift linkage doesn't fall apart.
Yes, exactly, because we don't want it to.
No, like, and to round this out, I think that's I think that's a good amount of like mileage for that car. Like 1,000 miles a year, I think is if you want a car to stay in very good condition, but very good condition also indicates mechanically, in my opinion, it needs to do at least 500 to 1,000 miles a year. Like, and if you can do that, it'll still stay low miles compared to all the others. It'll retain some more value than others, but it will maintain, besides the paint on his car, everything else about the car is in great condition. Fantastic. Yeah. It'll maintain a very good condition. I actually, just to kind of round out this point, went and found an example of a U2 iPod. This one happens to be a 6th gen, but that is in practically perfect condition. The back's not scratched up, the front's not scratched up, it has a new battery, etc. So it's clearly it's been used, but it's been extraordinarily well taken care of. $138.
And that's what it should be worth.
That's what it should be. Maybe a little more if you have one that, maybe hasn't been opened or something like that. Maybe a little more, but not more than that.
Yeah, if you can find one that's like been opened and like used, but still has its original battery and the original audio jack. Because mine has neither. I've had the battery, the screen, and the headphone jack replaced. But like, okay. And also, I don't want to sell mine because like that's like a direct link to my childhood. I remember, I picked up the iPod just before going on a road trip to Ireland with my parents.
Ah, nice.
And
how
so
ironic.
like that, well, yeah. And so I remember like driving along the coast in the back of it would have been at the time a Mark V Seat Leon.
Yeah.
With no air conditioning, and it was Ireland's dry season. And I remember listening and to music and like watching the supplied YouTube video that comes when you buy that iPod.
Nice.
It had like 5 or 6 different songs from like different eras of the band, in like live performances. And so, yeah, I remember that, and I mean, listening to it on the bus in high school, going to school, and like that's just a direct link to my life from 15 years ago. So,
yeah, and that's what I hope we can. I know we won't. I know that things will keep going up in value, but that's what I would hope, like beyond all hope, that we would.
Because people are greedy.
Yes, that we could find a better balance for is the fact that. You can maintain the original experience of an item, including the unboxing, without it being like, oh, it's never been touched. Oh my God. I promise you both can exist, and I promise you, even as somebody who's a bit of a preservationist with things, like things can still be used. It's pointless to have an item sit. That item is now actually, here you go. To round it out back to a car thing. Do we all remember the Alfa Romeo 8C review from Jeremy Clarkson?
Yeah.
How he talked with his buddy at the art museum, and how the guy said a car can never be art because in order for it to be art, it has to have no purpose other than itself. Well, what these people are kind of doing with some of these items, like this new in-box iPod or like that Viper that I saw, is they're effectively relegating, okay, this thing is now purposeless to me. It is now art. That's it.
Yep.
And that's a travesty.
Yeah, so thank you all for listening to Exhibition. Go buy our shit. Go watch our videos.
Yeah.
if you're just tuning in for the first time and you're still with us at the end of the episode, fucking hats off to you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for coming along. I haven't heard or seen anything from him, but shout out to James K. Just because.
Oh yeah. No, I always appreciate him. He's a big homie at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, stick around in the coming months for my and our weekly content. It's going to be starting up in April. We are recording this towards the end of January. Dude, January is almost over.
I know, it's crazy.
That's nuts. Congratulations to you, sir, on your engagement.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll see you all later. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Yep. Bye.